Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and here I talk about mental health, minimalism and just lifestyle-y stuff in general. And today, as we are in January of 2023 and there is a lot of stuff out there about things that we will not be bringing into the new year, New Year's resolutions that we want to make, all of that stuff that happens in January. And I'm not against New Year's resolutions in general, right? I've done them before. I remember I stopped drinking Coca-Cola in like 2011 as a New Year's resolution. That was a cool idea, right? And there are some really cool ideas out there. There's also some really unhealthy ones and whatever. But one of the pieces of rhetoric that I've seen recently that really grinds my gears, and I also really hate the phrase grinds my gears, so you know it's bad for me to actually say grinds my gears, is around this idea of not letting things ruin your day. And on the surface, I know that this can seem helpful or at least harmless and whatever, but I really want to talk about why this overall is just really crap advice. And the reason for that and why this is just really crappy and categorically unhelpful for a lot of people to hear. It's not even as if it's sort of a helpful and neutral, those are the only two outcomes from this. It is actively harmful and actively unhelpful for a lot of people. So let's talk about it. So from what I understand, the helpful side of not letting something ruin your day is kind of based on this idea of, let's say someone does something to you and it ruins your day. You're the only one who is being negatively impacted by that. That other person isn't. So this issue that you've had or this thing that they've said that's hurt your feelings or whatever is not negatively impacting them, it's only negatively impacting you, and so it's all within you, and so you can choose to not let it ruin your day because otherwise you're choosing to let it ruin your day, and then you go around blaming everyone, being like, oh, everyone's ruining my days constantly, it's everyone else's fault, rather than going, oh, actually this is a me problem, I should fix this myself. Cool. Okay, on the surface of it, that sounds totally fine. That makes sense, right? And there's kind of like a level 0, kind of like blaming everyone else for everything, right? And then level 1 going, oh, actually, I'm the one who's then still feeling crappy after this interaction, not them. So I have responsibility here, so I should take responsibility. Cool, great. The thing is, I said that that's like step 0 to step 1, right? Cool, great. We're looking at how we are existing in this. If we stop there and we just go, hey, all of my reactions are just me and just me doing this, and so I just need to choose not to do this because otherwise I'm just choosing to do this, is a absolutely massive oversimplification and is just really unhelpful in a lot of circumstances. Really genuinely unhelpful. And I think that anyone who lives in this world knows that we don't consciously choose or consciously think through a lot of the things that happen to us. I mean, I was saying this to Josh just the other day. You see like a bit of black thread that's come off something and it's kind of all bundled up, and you can go, oh my god, that's a spider, right? You don't think, oh, that's a spider, in just the like conscious sort of conscious thinking part of your brain. The other parts of your brain have already decided that that's the case based on various different stimuli. It's not that you need to consciously think through it before you decide in your mind that it's a spider, right? And I'm not a psychologist and I'm not an expert on this, but I am someone who's very interested in the brain and thinks a lot about things and about how our brain works with these. So this is not like proper medical advice and I haven't properly studied this, but I have done some of my own research in this, right? And I'm just talking based on how I know brains tend to work, right? So we constantly in our day-to-day lives decide that something is true or not true or whatever, but make a decision in our brains based on information and stimuli that we receive, and it is not a conscious choice, okay? So let's say that it was the spider thing and you saw something and you thought it was a spider. When you realize that it's just a bit of black thread that's all bundled up, Does that adrenaline stop? No, it doesn't. You can't stop the adrenaline. If there's cortisol there as well, you can't just stop it. You can't just stop it then going to the receptors in your body and reacting by breathing faster, by your voice going up because you're nervous, by becoming tense in your muscles, ready to react, all of that. That physical reaction is still going to happen, even though you can consciously say to yourself, "Oh, it's not a spider, it's just a bit of black thread." That same principle very much still happens in our lives when it's not a spider, but it is something that has happened in our day that someone has done to us or that we've seen or whatever. And that is doubly, triply, quadruply, quintuply, there we go, 5 times. That's extra so for people who have had trauma. And so for people who have had really stressful things, either one singular event that was extremely stressful that has then altered things in their brain, or ongoing stress that has caused cptsd or complex trauma in someone's brain, that then means that all of those, not all of them, but if we're talking general here, all of those systems that alert us to dangers, either socially or in our physical environment, those systems cannot calm down as easily as average Joe Bloggs walking down the street. And on top of that, okay, so first of all, there's the natural thing where the cortisol, the adrenaline, all of that does not go away straight away. You can end up feeling nervous and on edge and crappy for a long time after something has happened that has set you off. You can't just choose to shut that down. That's the first thing. If you have a history of trauma through whatever it is, that system is even harder to shut down. So you are stuck in that stressed, upset, worried, frustrated, anxious, embarrassed state for longer. The third thing is that when you've had to more consciously be on edge and be alert to things because of the environment that you've been in, and that kind of comes back to that complex trauma thing, it then means that you are at a more conscious level, sort of at that semi-conscious level, telling yourself things that keep you in that stressed state. And that is your brain trying to keep you safe, because in your past it hasn't been safe for you to just then let your guard down and go, "Oh, it's actually all fine, like I'm good, let me carry on." There's been a trigger or a stimuli or a notification ding, there's been a notification come through to you that something isn't safe, and when you then try to go, "Okay, but it is safe," there is a part of you that can be semi-consciously going, "No, but it's not. No, but I know it's not, because it wasn't safe. It never was. And so I know it's not." And that part of you is still convinced that it's not safe. So that is like 3 reasons why just for people generally, right? But particularly for people who've been through trauma and been through stress in their life, and due to that have that kind of cptsd stuff, or that like anxiety and depression stuff going on, where the things that are happening in your brain are not in the same way that they can happen in people who don't have mental illness. And this is why it grinds my freaking gears, is because when you are then telling those people whose brains are not set up to allow them to go, "Oh, this thing actually wasn't a threat. Cool, I'm good now. I'll carry on with my day. Let's go." When their brains are not set up for that. And it sucks for them because they are sitting there feeling stressed and anxious and worried and all of this. And then you're telling them, "You're just not choosing to move on from this. Why are you sabotaging yourself? And why are you ruining your own day and then like blaming what someone else did for that? Or why are you ruining your own day and saying it's because you had a stressful time growing up?" Like, you're choosing that. You are choosing to feel upset. You are choosing to feel stressed or embarrassed or anxious. Like, stop choosing that. And the amount of shame and like unhelpfulness that brings on makes me really mad, because now that person who is stressed, who is scared, who is anxious, who can't think straight, who is struggling at work or struggling in their home life, feeling angry or on edge, you're now telling them that it's actually just their fault and that they could choose to magically move on from it and that they are choosing to ruin their own day. And that's the really difficult thing, is that then it doesn't allow people the opportunity to reach out and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this, and get help for that, because they already feel like people are just going to say, well, you're just doing that to yourself. Why are you doing that to yourself? They feel like it's going to be thrown back in their face because of this. And I know that it's not everyone, but it feels like it kind of is a culture of, don't let this ruin your day. Why are you choosing to let this ruin your day? And it makes it feel more horrible, because now you feel shame associated with that. And it makes me really, really mad. It really does. It really, really does, because I am not saying that I want everyone to always feel like, hey, I'm not choosing anything here. It's all just subconscious brain patterns. I can't get myself out of this. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that this idea of you're just choosing to let this ruin your day is usually not helpful. It's usually not. That's what I'm going to put out there. It's usually not a helpful thing. And I think that that's just because it's a massive oversimplification. And I think that most people should be given benefit of the doubt to go, hey, this thing that happened before, you still seem to be really upset about that. What's going on for you? And helping people to actually work through that, because a lot of the time people could get help with that. And I do think it's just a massive oversimplification. Anyway, I'm repeating myself now. All of that to say, I really hate that advice. I really think it sucks, and I think that there are so many better things that we could be saying to people and to help them to find ways to improve their days in 2024, other than stop choosing to let it ruin your day. That's a classic Laura eye roll for you. I try not to do those on camera, but that's what we get today. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope that you are having a good new year. I hope that you're appreciating my new photo art wall that I have behind me. I say new, I'm a minimalist, right? It's all the same frames. It's just other photos that I already had and one bit of A4 that I printed, right? But hope you're enjoying that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like this, please subscribe, please watch another video, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.